I would say I'm gonna like talk about Fumetsu no Nade for maybe 3 episodes if possible because of the fact that I'm just not making the video about Fumetsu no Nade for 3 or 4 days, and like I'm gonna talk about it for 3 episodes in rows. So after the transcript, Fushi has been more fluent and having been living in the family of Ojijan Bia, which you could say he is now one of the family. But you know that people who is living an immortal life, having that for sure that would be a grief that would be they will not die when they see people that live slowly dying, which is which is exactly what Fumetsu no Data is trying to say. So living a peaceful life after 10 4 years that they live peacefully because Goku doesn't want it to having any conflict with anyone or anything. So he lived like a peaceful life as you know as Shin, who's Goku uh brothers, ill brothers, real blood related brothers come as he just feeling guilty of abandoning Goku. As he come, I'd say it's quite an kind of forces our emotion out as much as possible scenes which I'd say the story of Fumetsu no Nare is not quite connected. It's like Hunter x Hunter, but in 24 episode where you know there's a little arcs every 3 or 4 episode, and after 4 episodes there will be next conflict, a new conflict, which is I'd say it's quite um a good quite it is not natural true, but there's a lot you know to make a story about. So like the way I would describe this kind of story is like a game quest, a game stages, where first 3 episodes would be one stage one and solving problems and stuff, and go on and go to the stage two in episode four to blah blah blah, this kind of stuff, which I'd say it is the best way to make a story in the big world, in the big freedom world like Fumetsu no Day, where everything could happen. Everyone, like, one day asteroid could destroy the continents, war could happen, you know like Fushi, like everything could happen in Fumetsu no Day. It's like X Hunter, where in the face exam arc there would be some kinds of like people fighting each other to the next stages, and like it is limited, right? Like I like the first arc of Hunter x Hunter so much that is a lot of variation and stuff. But when this race in the first arc is ended, when the first arc is ended, everything could happen, right? So the way that Hunter x Hunter and Fumetsu no Nade using is that it will go into the next arc and make something. It's like ReZero in the season 2 too, to make something happen, to make you know something happen in the big freedom belt. And like Fumetsu no Nate is in the real, in like really the most freedom one. So it is like to make it to the story, you needed to focus on one conflict and focus on one like village in the first arc of Fumetsu no Nate. So it needed to focus on that. in order to make in order to process the story. So after Sheen and because of the fact that Sheen just have somehow enlightened that and knows that Gugu is helping him as he just goes on to you know as he just goes on to help Gugu after 4 years he is opening the farms as they say you know so but Gugu doesn't want to leave the family because he now have a really good family now, so he doesn't wanted to leave the family, as I say. So Rin, who is you know kind, because Gugu helped Rin too much, and that Rin, as I would say, in the face encounter that Rin like Fushi is because of the fact that I think Rin just maybe is just kind of a joke or something. But now, Rin like Gugu, I'd say it is happened for no reason. Um, because there's a lot of the simple stuff that like the author just too focused on the big picture, on the direction. It almost like the way I write the story. I also write the novel for this dot now. I write when I write like I would focus on the big picture, what happened, what characters doing what, and how they interact. But in the sense that it's a lot of the thing happening in the story of Fumetsu no Naruto. So there's too much thing that could happening. It almost like a platinum end where the author does not focus on the smallest details much because it would take too much time and effort to make these kind of story where sets on the really freedom, really a lot of thing happening in the world. So there's no way they could do everything without plot hole. This because of the fact that I think Fumetsu no Naruto did good so far, as I really the right directing and the stuff that happening in the story, that it sets on the simple stuff in the first place, and I really like how the others or script writers take these reads, as there's a lot to think about in Fumetsu no Naruto, as even the main characters is too powerful. So I'd say Fumetsu no Naruto is kinda it's not that bad of a story because there's to too much in the story to for one person to keep track on. I would say for the script writer to keep track on everything, and it's not possible to make those kind of really detailed story. If you could, you could do, but you know, we we are we are watching the anime. We are not, you know, we are not in, we are not studying the anime, right? So after this, Gugu got new mask, and Grandpa just Grandpa Grandpa Beer is just too glad that Gugu just uh and Gugu and Fushi just gone to the ceremony of, I'd say, ceremony of Reams, which is also another curses in this anime, and they both go to the ceremony. So of birthday of Reams, as as Gugu who picked on the flowers that Rin that Rin trying that Rin hate, that Rin get from that time, that Gugu just you know fall down into the Rin places, it into Rin to throw Rins out, not to make her hurt from that locks. So I'd say I've told the story in terms of to recap me, and like I'm not told the story in too details because of the fact that people, or because of the fact that I need people to watch the anime, not to watch my video to st- to get the complete sense of the story. So like mostly of the time it is my interpretation. I'm not trying not to tell the story too much into I'm not trying to tell the story too much detail, because I want people to watch the story and watch my interpretation of what's happening. So after Gugu go to the ceremony and met Rin and stuff, these people are just like hating Gugu for giving Rin this flower when he don't know. But Rin doesn't really care that much because of the fact that Rin, because it is a flower that Gugu gave. It is the first time Gugu gave him her any presents, and it is also the second time that of encounter of Gugu, when every time that Rin encountered this flower, Rin met Gugu. So after this, Gugu is just got picked on, as he just done as he just like crank. He got picked on because he don't know that Rin have PTSD of that flowers that Gugu gave. So everyone picked on Gugu, and Gugu just and after this, Gugu and Rin talked about the stuff that happening, what happening to Gugu first, and somehow, because of the fact that that flower, there's no way Gugu would know that flowers is hers. That flowers is have anything to do with her, because she doesn't talk about it. She don't even talk about it. But we don't know if the time skip has anything to do with the talk. Have Reen talk about that she don't like this flower. But this is my interpretation. But I think that Reen doesn't know that Gugu like these flowers, and she gave it to Gugu. So the fact that like so Gugu Gugu gave his to these flowers to Reeds, who who is PTSD from this. That means the one that see Reeds, you know, got these sirens with this flower would be Gugu who helped her. But I don't have no idea how she is how Reens got help, how Reens know she that when she got purchased, she got help by Gugu, because she think in the first place that she is she got she got pitches into the rivers, which I don't know how this happened, because um I say that the others is too much focus on big picture, but this is too much. Like you could you could just tell a little about the thought process of how characters came to realize what they realize, so that we don't need to guess anything. This is part of the reason why I did analysis on this anime, because this anime is too hard for even most people who's new to anime to watch this anime, without knowing anything. So I made this video to make the newcomers to also know the reason why. So this shows that Gyugyu is not uh, helping. This Gyugyu think that he does not confess because of the fact that uh, Rion's embarrassed about her wounds, her what hurts. She she got hurt this much, as she can't shows that how how Rian's is too much of a spoiled babies, I'd say. So that he does not tell Rian, which is kind of kind of kind of unreasonable, I would say. Okay, so in episode 11, let's say. Okay. So Gugu just practiced from this period that he lived from the. Okay, so oops, I'm just show episode 11, but Gugu is just gonna die when Rins come help him, as Fushi trying to help the villagers, help everyone, as he just sacrifice himself, as the knockers, which the Black Hood, the wizard, say that it is a knocker appearing in the forms of elemental stuff, elemental materials, appear in the stones, as Gugu with no mask can't beat beat it because it is having a stone armor, you know. So Gugu trying to pry it open and burned inside the knockers, as the knockers um just transforms as Rins come, as the knockers just transform and disappear, and you know transform into the new one, because Gugu and Fushi doesn't destroy the core. So like uh when Gugu is and Gugu gotten stolen March forms, and for later episode, for the sake of later explanation, when Gugu gotten stolen the forms, when Fushi got stolen the forms, into the he turned into his memory is also disappearing. So as you can see, Gugu, who is still gonna die, and Rins help him, as both trying to escape without caring about Gugu. I don't understand one thing about Rins. Why is Rin trying to uh why is Rin not does not care about Gugu, does not care about Fushi at all, when she showed interest in him in the first place, and she's after that she just kind of caringly about Gugu, which is the characters in this anime is written quite contradict to themselves, and doesn't good at keeping track of their actions throughout those shows, which is one flaws of this anime. So after that, okay, so Gugu is fighting with these bear knockers that got stolen the themes, which um Gu Fushi who got stolen the forms of bears, which is probably the strongest forms of Fushi, which make him quite vulnerable in the later episodes that comes, which is Battle Royale. And it is quite unfortunate that why why Fushi need to gotten stolen the forms of bear. Why? I don't understand. Why is why is Fushi doesn't immediately try to transform into not the bear forms? Because if he got stolen the bear forms, he will he got he got all of the forms of Gugu that left, of Fushi that left is the forms of Marsh and Wolf and stuff that is not quite strong. So as uh as the buildings goes down, Gugu and Rins gotten down in the building, which is quite fast and happening quite, you know, as I would say, uh, watching to your eternity sometimes feels like watching the slideshows. Sometimes something happen without a good transitions. So to your eternity is quite like a big adventure. So as Gugu and Rin, talking to each other, we will be definitely be together as Rin, and buying the purple stuff, purple flowers. Gugu fighting with the bear stalker when Gugu is die, and Gugu is die. So we know that even if in the far land, people who die, Fushi can transform into anyone, and Gugu died to protect Rin. Gugu using the fire. So as bear goes down, the fire, the water destroy the bears because of the fact that bears is when it's hot and goes to cold, the stone is being vulnerable to the temperatures, and at last goes pieces. As Gugu failed to try to capture the cores of Nohers. As we now know that Gugu make uh everything. Gugu kill Fushi kill Gugu. Fushi makes everything fall down because of the fact that Fushi is making knockers come here and killing everyone. So Gugu needs to go on and not, being in the being in with the people for too long. This is the limitations. So uh, it shows after this when Gugu gotten everything right, he got his pretty faces back, being with Rin, help him. It falls down, but Gugu realized that he misses. Fushi. So Fushi is the one who crumble everything. If Fushi does not show up, everything would be completely fine. So I don't know. It's kind of too. It's kind of emotional in the scene when Gugu died. When I watch. So Fushi will leave because uh Fushi leave because of the fact that he does not want to make everything fall again. As Reens comes, Fushi transforms into Gugu, and Reens knows the truth because of the fact that she is the one that because she is the one that's seeing Gugu die, I'd say, and there's no way that uh Gugu would survive because it's uh and Gugu is talk quite and Fushi transferring to Gugu is talking quite weird and stuff that he does not remember the promise. So Reens is that is crying, knows that Gugu already died, knows that it's not Fushi that died. That I don't know why Fushi just wanted to lie to Reens because of the fact that if Reens knew that even if we know that uh Gugu it's not Gugu who died, it's not Fushi who died. uh you can't say that Fushi is immortal and not die because the knockers can return Fushi into the orbs. So it's not Fushi that died, it's Gugu. uh So because it's not, it is because after Gugu, Fushi who transformed into Gugu disappearing, Rins will be more sad because of the fact that she needs to because of the fact that she needs to go into because of the fact that she will be more sad that if she knows later she will be more sad and let her cry, let her emotional in one period of time and let her move on after that is quite reasonable choices. As Rins also knows that Gugu is like gray like buns, and she knows that uh Fushi's lying to not make her sad, but it's not working. So, but she pretends to not know. So and that's how Rins also left Gugu, also left Fushi, who is Gugu brothers. Um, and Gugu just goes on without. Uh, the one thing I really like about Fumetsu no Nadae is how it's using its character, its journey of the immortal that to use it to overcome the obstacle, to use this that memory to overcome the obstacle, and using and it shows also show at the end of the arc of the people when you live the immortal life you see a lot of you that their dreams are not comes true, their ambitions you need to remember, you need to you know use the star forms trying to make it come true. That's what the philosophy of Fumetsu no Nadae is about. And I'd say, and everything ended quite emotionally as Gugu goes on. As Fushi's go on, why do I, mistaken the names too often? So, um, Episode uh 13. Okay, we are this far already. Goku walks on the journey into the uh Goku goes on the Fushi's go on the journey into the next arc as he have the conflict about himself. What's who is him and what is he, and he doesn't want to do this anymore, and this resort trying to pictures Fushi into making him develop, making him killing the knockers, making him improve, making him upgrade, as Fushi wanted to live a calm life that he got purchased by this guy's this resort. One thing I really like about Fumetsu no Tate, it's sometimes skips the cliche, so a lot of the time. And after that, Fushi and um, Pioran, Knockers, Torn, and Vizar. Fushi now being a fuck boy, fuck everything. He's just like gonna live a life that he's just not caring about anything. But the fact that Wizard, which is also anti-hero of this anime, this Wizard, uh, get him into Piran to, I'd say, who is pushes Gugu, pushes Fushi into that ships. Soon after this will be this Black Hood guy who wanted to make Fushi improve. So I'd say he planned to push his Fushi to his limits to improve Fushi, more like life coaches these days. And so like Piran and Fushi just have no choice but to travel with Piran into the towns, uh into the town, because into the next town that has the male animal he can transform to, so he could be stronger as he loses the bear forms, which is the strongest as he get from the starts. So he got stolen mushrooms as he knew that he forgotten the memories of the marsh, as he need not to lose the memories of Gugu that he is together. So Beth and Gugu just you know trying Gugu just tasting the crabs and the stuff that happening on him, that happening his power. So he realized that he can't make the crabs transform into anything, because of the fact that he need a stimuli. He need to have a story. He need to have the impact memory with him, like Gugu, so that he could transform. He could turn into them. He need to have something in in his mind. He need to have a trauma about something so he could transform into them. But if he only touches them, he could, you know, using his command slash give like in Minecraft. So he could get unlimited. Like I wonder why Fushi does not just selling the food and become rich and get his own armies to get rid of like these uh it's called Knocker guys. So as Gugu comes into the ships, he got deceived by Tonari, which is called Nex. Tonari, he got deceived into these ships because I would say it is back hood guys who is trying to deceive him into improving, or it is a person who hating P- Pioran and Fushi, which is I could think that's girl from Yanome, which is Ayase or something along those lines. I think that will appear in the next episode. So after Fushi gotten deceived, he goes on with Tonari, and he goes on with Tonari, and that he need to help Pioran to achieve the goals of trying to escape this place and improve and stuff without any to protect Pioran. So these Tonari gangs trying to deceive Gugu into getting get I'm not sure about that goes. I think they're trying to deceive Gugu, deceive Fushi into uh advance, trying to uh trying to being the leaders of this Iceland and being the king and live normal life and stuff. We're not quite sure yet, but if I would, if I were to uh, constantly realize it, I think these girls with having some kinds of the connection and stimuli to Gugu and having a bad past or some bad backstory to make them a bad guys, to make them a grape who is having to a bad person and need to help by Gugu, and they will and will be the next story of how Gugu will improve with them, you know, and a good and a sad and a drama story. So Gugu who we just not see Yanome and stuff, which is also having a war with the Iceland that the Pure Land live. Maybe they will have more of a villain, uh, villain race later on. So Gugu got tempted by Tonari into fighting, and it is not a good fighting scene. Like Gugu just stand here and just got beaten, and this guy is just suddenly have stomach ache and died. So everyone trying to suck the Gugu suck the Fushi to make him to help to just being to just being so easy with that life that Gugu if Gugu would be the leaders. So as this guy trying to deceive Gugu, he need to help Pioran. So as Gugu now know that as Fushi now know that um he and Pioran family live because of the fact that Pioran gotten locked in and not leaving outside like a prisoner because of the fact that Pioran is a big time criminal who killed 10 people from Yanome, which I suspect that Pioran killed because she needed to helping the herself and helping someone, because as we see Pioran is not that terrible person. So this guy is just kind of crazy who lived this Iceland for like and laughing maybe, but I suspect that they being like this because of the fact that they got raised in a bad environment and they be good and stuff. I'd say Fumetsu no Nata is quite predictable. It is not really a good, not really that good. Uh, Not really everyone in the story is kind of good people. So, but the one thing that I really like that is people in Fumetsu no Natae actually die. Not like uh, a lot of the war, so-called phony war anime like 100 Man or Tensai Oji in this season. So kinda and like so so this guy is kind of saying like he everyone has chooses they will die when they will die like Goku could have escaped and not helping Rin like I don't know if like Goku had no choice like gotten he died in that stones and there's no way he will have chosen if he have to choose he will leave like he could not have like made Rin sacrifice as his shields and he survived. Maybe not. So I don't know what is this picture is trying to say, but Gugu is die because oh yeah, Gugu died because he said Fushi. That's quite reasonable, but um, basically this black hooded guy, morality is like this guy is just gonna die someday if he fight Mo and Mo. So what to do? They're just like they need to just like you could kill them because they will die like other human do like like this the philosophy of black hooded guy is quite funny. So a girl from Yanome just kind of like just kind of licked Fushi because she is yandere for some reason that so she is like gone agey and like life is worthless and killing everyone so could transform in Gugu have this trauma of killing this man and could transform into him and like he just kind of digging hole and he got transferred into the battlefield when he fighting with this guy he does not want to kill him as he transformed into a Verona because and that he doesn't need to he doesn't need to die to tran Verona doesn't need to die to transform into her. So I am quite mm, wonder what is the condition. Maybe Verona already died. Maybe. What is the meaning of life? What is this stuff? So like maybe Verona is talking to him in uh quite a way that she in quite a way that he need he have trauma with her. So I'm quite wondering if you know he forgotten all the Marsh story because of the fact that why he forget Rhoda. Why? Because she's not the one that gotten her form stolen. So I'm not quite sure. Hmm. as he being a Verona, he can fight this guys with ability in her body, which is quite sexy, I'd say. So the end of episode 15 of 14 of To Your Eternity, from episode 11 to 14. So, like, in the past few days, I have no time just to reanalyze the anime, so I'm just, analyze 4 episodes in one go. So, share